So full transparency, you're looking at this video like, wow, Sever's been like posting these videos late. Well, the last couple times I had a valid excuse. This time I've got another valid excuse. Hear me out on it. So the game ends and I'm sitting there and I'm like, what can I possibly say about this? Because 1 second we're slapping around Denver. The next second we're winning all these high profile games, but then we can't beat OKC. And I'm like, what can I possibly say in the video? So I recorded one, but I didn't like how it came out, so I said I'll sleep on it. I wake up in the morning and nothing's really coming to me. So I go live my life a little bit, then come back home and rewatch the fourth quarter just to really piece together what happened. How could we possibly lose to OKC? And there's no real one thing to point out. Like, Spencer Dinwiddie's doing his thing where if he doesn't get a call, he has a conniption and, he's upset or whatever. Mikal Bridges, he scored like 30, so it's like you can't really point at him. The decision to not include Royce O'Neal in the closing lineup, even though we've been doing that for the last couple games, and that resulted in a win. Again, Jacques Vaughn makes decisions that I don't really understand. But when it doesn't work, it's like, bro, you don't have to change it if what you're doing is working. There's no need to switch it up. Kind of like how we keep trotting out the same starting lineup, even though we all know how I feel that it should 100%. And I'm not even going to put the headband on because I'm just not feeling very delusional today. But even though I feel, and some of you feel, Cam Thomas should be starting. Cam Thomas should be getting considerable amounts of minutes, but, we just kind of tinker around with the lineup and certain individuals get to play, certain individuals get long minutes and such, and others don't. It's a very strange thing. I say shout out to Seth Curry and shout out to Joe Harris for hitting shots whenever they do, because it's like they'll get like 1 to 3 shot attempts a game and play for 5 minutes, and then it's just the starters, which I don't know if Jacques Vaughn thinks he's Tom Thibodeau and he's doing like a cosplay or something like that. I have no idea. I just know that I don't really understand what that man is doing, but it's cute when it works, right? It's cute when it works. I think it's cool. Claxton got a lot of minutes. This is another one of those episodes where if Finney Smith is not going to be contributing offensively, what do we have him out there for exactly? Again, I get that he plays defense every now and again, but if Lou Dort is out there getting like 25 points, then what defense was Finney playing? That's all I'm going to say. If we're looking matchup to matchup, power forward to power forward, and I know they switch a lot, I'm just trying to figure out what Mans is doing out there. Now, he had the cool putback dunk towards the end of the game, but we were down 10 consistently in the fourth quarter. So I'm just trying to put the pieces together. Something else, and I understand they're not going to win every game, but there are just certain games to me that are inexcusable. You can't lose to OKC and you can't lose to the Rockets. And again, for the fan bases that come across these videos, I do not care what you have been doing. I don't care how many games you've won in a row. I don't care if you're on a little streak. If you're a basement dweller team, you are a basement dweller team. Bottom feeders below us, you're in the lottery. Hope that works out for you with your million picks. You got those million picks because you've been trashed for years. But that's not here nor there. I think there are certain teams that we just can't lose to, and it doesn't matter if it's an off night. It doesn't matter if we just get out hustled or outplayed or whatever cliche we're going to throw out there. There are certain teams you just do not lose to. And especially with them, making their little, whatever you want to call it, to try and come back and position ourselves in the standings to make sure that we're in a good position to make some noise in the playoffs. You cannot mess around and lose to OKC. And again, I get they can't win every game. And this is what I wanted to avoid in making the video. I was just significantly angrier last night, and I figured giving it 24 hours would have me in a calmer place. It doesn't seem to be the case. I seem to be just as angry, but that's not here there. But there are just certain teams you don't lose to. And OKC is just one of those teams. If they're truly scrappy, if they truly got it all together, if they're going to play that defense, then it's like you got to do it all the time, and especially against teams that you're supposed to beat. And again, I'm aware they can't win every single game, and we're coming off of some pretty impressive wins, cut them some slack. I just can't do it when it's against trash. I can't do it. We didn't lose to the Kings. We didn't lose to the Cavs. We didn't lose to the Grizzlies without Ja or something like that, where there's still a respectable team there. We lost to OKC, a team that is actively trying their hardest to lose as many games as humanly possible. And I'm just trying to put the pieces together of, if we have this defensive lineup out there, how is it that Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, or Student Government Associate, SGA, whatever that man's name is, I don't understand why that Travis Scott looking bum can Astro World himself all the way to the rim multiple times and ain't nobody stopping him. That's the type of stuff I'm trying to put the pieces together. Mr. Spencer Dinwiddie, you want to get upset about a missed call at the end of the game that gets called a jump ball. Bro, why are you letting Josh Giddey lock you up? I think that's the real question. I mean, we're talking about scrubs. We're talking about bums. You can't handle that. You can't handle that. If you can't handle that, what do you think we're supposed to do against Milwaukee? If you can't handle that, what are we supposed to do against the Celtics? If you can't handle that, what are we going to do? We match up with the Cavs or something like that. If you can't handle the friggin' OKC Thunder, I just don't know what we're doing here. But again, we can't win every game. I get it. Sever's so negative. I get it. Totally understand. Got you. There are just certain games I feel like there is no excuse for it. And if the lineup you have out there is not getting it done, if Cam Johnson can't hit the side of a wall with a dodgeball the size of Massachusetts, then get him out of the game and put some people in who can score. You got Watanabe collecting dust on the bench. Royce O'Neal has proven that he's a go-to option to close a game. You got him sitting on the bench with moss all over him and cobwebs and stuff. You feel me? You got Sumner fresh off a child. He can't get in the game. Don't get me started on why Cam Thomas gets like 5 seconds to go out there, but friggin' Joe Harris and Seth Curry can go out there and not play the defense whatsoever and just hoist up bricks, but that's perfectly fine. I just don't understand it. And what was the point of getting Nerlens Noel if you're not going to let him play? What was the point? What was the reason? Oh, God, this team. And it's like I never know how to approach it. I try to have games. I try to be fun with it. We'll have the Harris huddle. I'll put on the headband and be delusional mode. Like, I try to have fun. But the team just stresses me out so much because it's like 1 second it's like they're unstoppable. And the next second we're just looking at ourselves in the mirror like, well, we just don't have the fight in us. And I just don't understand it. I just don't understand it. Like, we should be clearing them. Have we not established that that's the type of team we are? And for the 9 minutes time, I understand, because I know you have all said it in the comment section already, Sever, they can't win every game, but there are just certain games you have to win. It's just certain games you got to win. If we're a certain caliber, if we're a certain team, I mean, you just got to have some pride. And I'm not condoning violence. I'm actually a pacifist. Fun fact, Seven the Bond's a pacifist. I'm not condoning violence, but it's like, if you're going to get smacked around by an inferior team, someone's got to get thrown out at least. Like, have some fight. Have some pride. I know the whole team's new, but come on, you got Brooklyn across your chest. For God's sake, stand up for yourself. They frustrate me so very much. So very, very much. And I'll give you a personal deep dive into good old Sever the Bond's personal life, if you will. Oh, also, you're on Nets Republic. Make sure you subscribe, thumbs up, all that good stuff. I'll give you a little vision into all Sever the Bond's personal life. You feel me? Everyone I know is either a Hawks fan or a Knicks fan, and there is no in between. I don't know any other fan of, well, I know one dude who's a Knicks fan and a Lakers fan, so it's like a combination of two. But as far as a fan of any other team, I don't, no, I know an OKC fan. But outside of that, I don't personally know anyone that supports any other team like that. So it's very much just I'm surrounded by Knicks fans or Hawks fans, and then like one OKC fan who suspiciously did not hit up my phone when they won. I hope he didn't die, but that's not here or there. Anyway. So when I have these conversations where I'm venting my frustration, I've never met another Brooklyn Nets fan. Like face to face, I've never met another Brooklyn Nets fan. I know some of y'all like on the internet, but I've never physically met another Brooklyn Nets fan. It's never happened in my life. Ever. Not even once. No, yes, never. Not even once. I don't think I can think of a single one. Not in real life. No. I've never met another Brooklyn Nets fan. So whenever I have these conversations where I am off camera venting to someone, it's always to someone who's either a Knicks fan who's loving it and mocking me and begging me to come back to the fan base, or it's to a Hawks fan who hates us equally because of the Kyrie KD thing, but brings up valid points. And this is what my Hawks friends tell me. Again, we're not going to talk about what the Knicks fans say to me because we didn't ask them. But what my Hawks friends tell me is, why are you getting all worked up for a team that has literally shown you they're not for real, or as people say in the South, they're not serious, right? They're not serious. A team that is not serious. And to decode that for you New Yorkers and such, when someone says someone's like not serious or something like that, it means that they're not actively taking the steps to be about something, if you will. Sorry, about for y'all. To actively not be about something. They'll look at me and say, Sever, why are you so worked up about a team that's clearly not serious? Translation, not serious about the future. And what they mean by that is a team that will go out there, make aggressive moves to try and get the home run move. So like, why be so upset about individuals getting traded away and a new cast of characters that you might not care for if we're just going to end up trading them? And it really made me sit back and think, that's a pretty good point. Even if, let's say, hypothetically, we do make some quote-unquote noise in the postseason, and Mikal has like a breakout moment that even I look at him and I'm like, oh, wow, this guy's the real deal. We're just going to trade him. And I don't personally believe that the Nets have shown any form of anything to make us think differently, right? They'll have Blake Griffin t-shirt night, and then he's like not picked up in free agency the next season. Now, obviously, Mikal and Blake are two different pecking orders, but I'm saying, like, in the past, they'll put all this stock, they'll do all this pushing, to really put my pro wrestler stuff on, right? We'll do all this pushing of talent, and then just trade them away. So it's like, even if I personally get over myself, stop being a Dio, and come around to the fact that Mikal's the guy, and we got to follow him, even though the star of the team is really Spencer Dinwiddie, you want to keep it a beat. I mean, how many assists did he have? He almost had a triple-double. It's really Spencer Dinwiddie, but for surface level fans, Mikal Bridges is that guy, and we should be crowding around him. But it's like, what has the organization done to make us believe that he'll be here next season? I mean, like, we would like to think that he'll still be here. But remember, this is an organization that has quiet as kept. And I mean, on the hushity hush of all hushity hushes, that quietly picked Ben Simmons over Kevin Durant and Kyrie. Now, that's not a shot at the church will blow it up, of course. I'm just letting you know what the Nets have done. Remember when they were taking those pictures with Ben Simmons over the summer at like the Kids' Choice Awards or wherever it was they were at? It was Josiah, which, I knew this specifically bad with Josiah, but Josiah, and Sean Marks and Steve Nash at the time and Ben Simmons. They were all like on a red carpet event somewhere, and we're hearing all these rumblings about how Ben Simmons is here for the long term. Well, look who's still here, and I'm sure it's not for trying. I'm sure that I don't know. I don't know if they have attempted to move him or not. We haven't heard any, suspicions. And in a New York market, I feel like we We know the behind the scenes, right? The reporters are just that good. Like, we hear the behind the scenes of shenanigans. I haven't heard any rumors of the Nets have been shopping him around. Obviously, his trade value is trash, but I haven't heard any rumblings. It seems to me the front office got what they want. They wanted Kyrie out from the jump, but didn't nobody want him, and he picked up his option, so we were stuck with him until he demanded a trade. You feel me? They were clearly willing to ride with Sean Marks and Steve Nash when KD said fire the coach and the GM or I walk. They said, well, we ain't gonna do that. What I'm saying is, when was the last time the Nets did something to make you think that we're taking the right steps? I know in this current moment, it feels incredible that we've got this young core that we're building towards the future. But does this not remind you of a certain time period we're really not that far removed from? And what did we do with them? I don't consider this being negative. I consider it being realistic. And I know I'm supposed to have the yellow headband on and I'm supposed to be delusional and positive, but it's just when they lose, I got to get my stuff off and I got to voice my concerns. And I think it's interesting that there are 3 versions of this video. You were seeing the third, and I think I was more negative in this one than the first 2, but I'm going to go with this one anyway. If you're seeing this, it means I went with this one. But I'm so skeptical of this team, and I don't know how to slice it. I know they can't win every game, and this was just a time where we just didn't have enough in the tank. Maybe it's the end of a long road trip, whatever you want to call it. I just think that we should be beating teams like this. If the team is serious, we should be beating teams like this. But even if this was just a fluke and OKC just had a really good night or something like that, it's hard for me to invest in the idea of, oh, just give it a second. They're growing together. They're trying to get the chemistry down. When something's telling me in the back of my mind that the roster is not even going to look the same next year. Hey, ask Spencer Dinwiddie about the stability of being a star on the Nets. Speaking of which, I want to hold up a certain jersey. I won't show you who it is yet. But I'll hold up a certain jersey. And for this individual, who honestly should be hanging up, if we're keeping it all the way at that way, I just kind of don't want to cover the Nets Republic part, but an individual whose jersey really should be hanging up here. I mean, I wasn't here for it, but I respect him in what he did, even though I was actively plotting for y'all's downfall. I'm going to hold his jersey up. And y'all can tell me all about how you believe that the Nets are going to continue to stay on the straight and narrow and are actually going to go with young talent this time. I'll give y'all a couple more seconds to guess who it is. And then again, you tell me what I possibly have to believe when it comes to these Nets. This is your hint. This is your reveal. Now you tell me, with the 3 jerseys we have right here, I'll stand over here and we'll just look here together. I might be covering the Levert one with my hair, my bad. But let's just look up and down at the 3 jerseys we have right here that represent 3 distinct eras in the last 2 years. It's only been 2 years. Now you tell me why on earth we have any confidence in this front office. You tell me.